The Gina and Maddie Podcast.
Yeah, Gina, you were in Vegas, in Tamworth.
Yes, I was.
For the Golden Guitar Awards, and we know that this guy, Keith Urban, was having a big night.
Well, apparently, the powers that be have spent 5 years trying to get Keith Urban to come out to Australia and to be inducted into the Roll of Renown. This is something that you get inducted if you've had a very big impact on country music in Australia. Tex Morton, Slim Dusty, John Williamson, Joy McKean, Casey Chambers, people like that. It's a fairly small list of people that have been in that, and Keith was honoured with that. So he arrived. He made the most beautiful speech. He's 57. He was born in New Zealand, though we claim him as our own because he moved here when he was 2, and he actually started his career busking on the streets of Tamworth, like a lot of country music artists do. Yeah, that's how he started, as probably a 9, 10-year-old. So yeah, he was really, really thrilled. He seemed very thrilled. Casey Chambers, local girl who we love and adore, actually wrote a song for him to sing to him right before he got inducted, and she just stood up and sang it a cappella about how we love him and how he's always welcome to come home, and it was just absolutely stunning. And then he said, one of the things I loved the most about his speech was just thanking the early believers, people who believed in him when he was young. He mentioned my husband, Rod. So, backstage, let me tell you about that. I was backstage getting my hair and makeup done, and these like panicky producer comes in and goes, everybody get out, everybody's got to get out. And we're sitting in there going, well, we're just getting ready. We need to be here. I didn't need to be there that much because I wasn't presenting. I was just getting my hair and makeup done there. But I was walking the red carpet. That's all I did this year, which was quite lovely. But she's trying to get everybody out of the dressing room because Keith, when he arrived, needed 2 dressing rooms. There's only 4 backstage. The Trek is the Tamworth Regional Entertainment Centre. It's a massive big venue. It's got a big green room at the back, but with 4 dressing rooms, each with a toilet each, and then separate toilets. They wanted to block off and cut backstage in half, and nobody was allowed in where Keith was. He had police, security guards completely surrounded. Now he's a big star, and you can imagine he doesn't want every Tom, Dick and Harry coming up wanting to talk to him and stuff. But other people who are very famous in Australia, also backstage getting kicked out of their own dressing rooms and stuff, are like, well, is he even in there? There's a lot of hoo-ha going on. He hadn't even come out yet. And you've got Lee Kernaghan, Casey Chambers, Troy Cassar-Daley, a lot of big stars backstage waiting to go on, and they hadn't seen him yet. So my husband, Rod, who's about to play banjo with Max Jackson, who was on earlier. She won a couple of golden guitars. He already had his banjo on, and he had his in-ears on, ready to jump up on the stage. And it's quite a big production, the whole awards night. And he's backstage, and everyone's complaining, is Keith even there? Is Keith even here? And Rod got his banjo and went and just played some banjo. And Rod can, boy oh boy, can he play the banjo. So he just starts. This is actually him.
Yep. This is not just me finding banjo music. This is Rod playing.
This is him playing. So he said he just started playing like this, and he said next minute Keith comes out. And finally, Keith Urban makes an appearance backstage. And
for Rod's banjo playing?
Well, because he recognised the banjo, and of course he recognised Rod, and they were talking about old times. Now, the photo that I did get is in fact not me, but it's Rod with Keith. And Rod said he had about 10 minutes talking to Keith. Keith, of course, remembers Rod because Rod helped him out in his career in the early days.
Yeah, look at them having a D&M there. So we know that there's a photo, Gina, of you and Keith very young in 1991 on stage as he's awarding you with your Star Maker Award and giving you a kiss on the cheek.
Yes.
Now, we fast forward to 2024.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, 2025. And you haven't managed to recreate that photo.
No,
but
I didn't. I got to see him from afar.
You did get a sneaky photo there, and there's Rod with a banjo, holding his banjo, and Keith in a very cool-looking suit, having a chat with your husband, Rod, and they look deep in chat.
Well,
it's a real D&M.
And Keith just, Rod would talk, and then Keith would grab him again and hug him and hold on like cheek-to-cheek hug, and then they'd start laughing and talking again, and he'd lean in and he'd hug him again. So Rod helped him early in his career. When he won Star Maker, Rod produced his first single, which is this one.
I never work on a Sunday.
Called I Never Work on a Sunday.
I've got a life of
So they started reminiscing about this, how Rod used to fly up to Brisbane every weekend and help Keith with this song. Rod got him was Rod said, look, Keith, you have got a lot to answer for. And he goes, what? He goes, because Rod's an actual banjo player, but Keith Urban started playing a ganjo. Now, a ganjo is a cross between a guitar and a banjo. So you play it like you play a guitar. A banjo is different. It's five strings, not 6 strings, and it's a completely different instrument to play. And Rod's a traditionalist, loves the real thing. Keith obviously loves the real thing but can't play it. And Rod went, you have a lot to answer for. Hundreds of thousands of people all over the world now think a ganjo is a banjo, and you know it's not. So he had a good dig at him, and they had a good chat. I, on the other hand, got to sit front row at the awards, about 6 seats away from Keith. And to be honest, I didn't notice he was there at first. He must have got escorted in amongst a lot of people, so you couldn't see him come in, just walking from backstage in front of me, no doubt, and I didn't notice until he went to get his award. And I looked over, 6 people down, and gone, oh, Keith Urban's just 6 seats away from me, but I did not get the kiss. I didn't get to say hello, and you feel a bit stalkery, you know. So, but they didn't give you the chance. He was completely surrounded by security guards, but Rod had his moment with Keith Urban.
You're right, Gina. There was nothing stalkery about you zooming in with your camera to take a sneaky photo of Rod and Keith having a good old chat.
Look, I did kiss the cheek that Rod hugged next to Keith. Does that count?
1 cheek of separation.
The Gina and Maddie Podcast.
For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.